I play a lot in a lot of other groups, and I teach private lessons a few days a week.
At your own music school?
At my own music school, which I run with a friend. It's not as crazy as it sounds. Yeah, with Josie, which you had her husband Brian on the other day, which was lovely.
Yeah, and Josie has played in your band before.
Yeah, she was on Heartbeat, actually.
Yes, yeah. And she's in the video for Heartbeat.
She is.
And you have played in Brian Just bands too.
Yeah.
What's an up-to-date list of Jillian's bands? Which bands do you currently play in?
Okay, well mine, that's easy. Corpse Survivor. I play with the Okee Dokee Brothers.
Yeah, which is family music.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with kids' music.
Well, we call it Americana because that's for everybody, you know, but I think there is, they hate this, so sorry Joe, sorry Justin, but apparently there is a circuit of kids music and they call it kindie music, like kid indie, but they don't love that term. I think it's adorable.
In the phrase.
Yeah, so they just say we play Americana music and it's family oriented, but what I love about it is it's not your average, like you listen to other like kids bands and there is a very like kiddie quality to it.
Like it's twee or it's...
Like there's like a hey everybody kind of like tonality to it, and the Okee Dokee Brothers music is just, it's for everyone, and I think that's why they're so successful is like the parents love it, everyone, no matter what your age is, if you like Americana and bluegrass style music, it's just good music, it's just the content, there aren't a bunch of, you know, fucks in their music basically, and it's about like getting outside, it's like, you know, just the content is relatable for youngsters.
I witnessed the two of them with the Minnesota Orchestra.
Yeah, isn't that so cool?
Yeah, I'm sure there's other impressive kindie.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of other bands that I've just learned through touring and playing with them that like, wow, there's this whole world and these people are baller musicians.
Yeah.
But they, in my opinion, and obviously I'm biased, I play with them and I love them so much, but their music is really special because it just, I think that's why they won the Grammy. It's like
I was going to mention they won the Grammy.
They won a Grammy, FYI. I touched it once. It was really cool.
As did the producer for your new record.
Yes, he actually works with Brian Setzer quite a bit. So I believe his Grammy is related to a Brian Setzer album. I'm sorry, I wish I knew what it was. Sorry, Mark. I can't keep everybody's accolades straight.
The information is in this picture frame.
Oh, perfect. There, you're going to stick it up there? Great. Aside from that, I play with Steve Collin, the Brass Kings, and Adam Levy's solo project.
Yeah, oh yes.
Oh, I'm probably forgetting something. But I wanted to give those two. Oh, the Fiddlers. I also play in a group called the Fiddlers, which is really fun too. Yeah. And if I'm missing anyone, I'm really sorry, but I love playing with all y'all.
And the Brass Kings does not feature brass instruments. There's a washboard like in Too Many Banjos.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's actually the brand of washboard.
Yeah.
Or a brand of washboard is called the Brass King. There's the Zing King and the Brass King. So that's what it's named after, and it is pretty funny when we show up sometimes out of town and people are expecting like a horn band, and it's a hillbilly band.
And but that problem never happens with the Fiddlers. People come for fiddles.
I think they figure it out pretty quick. It's 5 fiddles and a bass, yeah.
Are there tangible ways in which the process of working with the Okee Dokee Brothers has informed either songs on this record or other songs that you're working on?
That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know that I can say that they're, like, that playing with them, that their music hasn't informed much of what I do for my project, because their music is informed by basically the stuff I play in Corpse Survivor. Like all bluegrass, all like folk or Americana music, I think all music in general. Like you can take rock and roll, you can take Jimi Hendrix, whatever, and tie it back to these early, if you don't know what the Anthology of American Folk Music is, it's a compilation of the earliest recorded songs in America. Like back when, like Old Brother, Where Art Thou days, you'd like go to the radio station and pay a nickel and they'd like record you and your family playing the song or whatever.
Yeah.
So
when it was set, not when that was made.
Right. I just like, that's what people can visualize that don't have any other context. But so I feel like that music is what informs all of this other stuff. So really, like, I've been a folk bluegrassy fiddler for so long. Like, I take, like, you know, my experience and what I've played there, and I add that to their music.
Yeah.
But I can't say, like, oh, it was the Okee Dokee Brothers influence that I played this acoustically or anything like that. I kind of separate my own stuff from the other things that I do quite a bit, because it just keeps it, I can be in, like, my little hermit hole, and then it can stay very personal while still being ambiguous to whoever's listening to it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's focus a bit on Heartbeat. The manner in which this new EP is personal seems different than the manner in which Heartbeat is.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah.
how is it different? It remains personal, but how are you exploring different aspects of what it is to be Jillian Rae?
Oh, well, geez, isn't that a question? I think not just for me, but I'm gonna make an educated guess and say for like 99% of songwriters, like all of our songs are very personal, you know, like I don't think that that's something that's unique to just me. But that being said, I think with Heartbeat, I did put it out there a lot, like when people asked, which people didn't really ask right away, which was interesting, because normally I'm so used to people just getting really like, what's it about?
Yeah,
just,
what's it about?
You know. So finally, when somebody asked, I let everyone know, you know, what the overall arc was about that record, and I kind of just let it be out in the open. And of course, it was about a really like crazy time in my life. Where I basically was a child bride, and I got married really young. And so, you know, it was about that first relationship and all of that stuff that was not successful.
Yeah.
But that being said, that's not what all the songs are about. Some of the songs on Heartbeat are super uplifting and
Like
super...
Heartbeat.
Like Heartbeat
For
is
example.
very lovey-dovey. It's not a negative love song at all. But what that is, and what this new EP, Wanderlust, is, it's just completely different books on the shelf, you know?
That's a good metaphor to think
Yeah.
about it. There's coherent chapters in Heartbeat.
Yeah, Heartbeat is about this specific thing, and Wanderlust is about, or anyway, I shouldn't say it's about, because it's whatever it is about to you, the listener. However you relate to it, and whatever you pull from it, and however it makes your life better, that's what it's about, I think, in general. But for me, what I was thinking when I wrote it, it was very much like, these songs come from this place, you know, and it's just a different place than where Heartbeat came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's focus on some moments in Heartbeat to kind of flesh out our sense of, you know, what that record is doing.
Sure.
And then we'll return to Wanderlust.
Okay.
So Heartbeat, the song and the record, begins with it's like almost onomatopoeia. There's the percussion, of course, and we can hear it now, creates the sense of the heartbeat. And this is definitely a song that, you know, within the narrative of the record, could be seen as the beginning of that particular love story, but also, as I think you're kind of highlighting, can also exist entirely outside of that. And this is a purely positive initial meeting and excitement about the sparking of a love interest.
Yep.
My body feels your eyes with a tingle in my spine is a really intriguing lyric, I think. The body feeling the eyes. That's an unusual metaphor, I think.
I think I'm just verbalizing something that for me is a very, I don't want to say obvious feeling, but it's that feeling that we've all had, or I think we've all had it, where, you know, when you're playing like the eye game across the room, you don't know this person and you keep catching each other eye, and then like somebody looks away really quickly, like, oh, I didn't want them to catch me looking at them, you know. That's kind of like where, and that happened to me for like an entire day. So that's like, and I remember journaling about it and just like going on about like how funny that whole, because we all do it, and like no matter if I want to be like, that's silly, I'm just gonna like you never hold your gaze. It's like you feel like this like initial feeling of embarrassment, or just like, shit, I'm caught, you know? So with that, I feel when you're super aware of somebody watching you. I mean, this could even be like a scary, like going down a dark alley thing, you know, like you have that sense that somebody is looking at you or watching you, and it is a physical manifestation, like you feel it in your body, you know what I mean? So that's all that was to me. Like, you know, sometimes when you're playing those games and you have that like weird connection that you can't explain yet because you haven't talked to the person, it's like you feel it in your spine or wherever.
It's kind of magnetism, so it's not cerebral, it's the whole body knows.
Yes. It's like intuitive, intuition, yeah. It's definitely like when the mental manifests into physical.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I zoomed in on that lyric because there's an interesting contrast, I think, with a set of lyrics in the final track on the EP, Free. And those lyrics are, take these shackles off me, will you let me decide how to run my body? There's an interesting relationship between those two, I think, because on the one hand, one is knowing through one's body in a kind of breaking away from like mind-body dualism kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then here, is that mind over matter? Let me decide how to run my body. It's like, you know, my mind is going to govern my body, actually. What do you think about the relationship between those two lyrics? And does it reveal anything about the relationship between the two?
Oh, I do anything to be alone with you. Yeah, I give anything.
Well, I mean, this is the first time it's ever been brought to my attention, like, to compare those two. Like, when I wrote Free, like, I wasn't thinking about Heartbeat at all, obviously.
Yeah.
But that is a good point. I feel like just where Heartbeat is coming from, it's like that lighthearted, you know, that it's like that attraction game we were talking about. And where Free came from, really, man, I don't want to reveal too much because I don't want to tell you, like, here's what you should think about when you hear this song. You should think about whatever. But I think it's kind of motivated by the times we're living in, and just being that these are collections of songs from the road. Like, I'm a female musician, and sometimes I'm by myself, and sometimes I'm with a whole band, and sometimes I'm with just a small bit of people. And I think this was just, for me, reflective on what it's like sometimes just with the female experience in a pretty male-dominated industry or just job, which is pretty true to a lot of things, I suppose. I mean, this isn't unique to just music, but I think you could definitely parallel that with if you're a person who follows me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I just made a post yesterday of myself without makeup on, which I never leave the house without makeup. That's like a big deal for me.
I think I Facebook loved that.
Thanks.
Actually.
But yeah, just kind of highlighting. I had somebody sent me a message about how they were feeling down because somebody poked at them about like a body image thing. This is a fellow musician. So I mean, we're so public. Our jobs, we're basically public figures, and we're like giving ourselves to everybody, whether or not we know who you are, you know, but like we're giving ourselves to you and you know us, and we're trying to make art and make your life better, right? So I just referenced in that, which reminds me of this lyric because it happens all the time, which is why I wrote a song about it. I was once told by an industry professional, you know, like we were supposed to be talking about like my record and making new records and just like shopping and trying to look at like labels and distribution and whatnot. And the conversation turned quickly and for the rest of the meeting to my body image and my looks, and like, let's talk about your look and what are you going for, and you know, like, do you need those glasses?
So
because
the wrong kind of
you're
thing.
actually really pretty, I mean, underneath those glasses. And I was just like, I just had to like think all of the swear words that I was thinking and like keep them inside and just kind of like take it. I was a little bit shocked by that, but it's really not all that shocking. It happens.
Did you continue working with that person?
No. If you can't like take me the way I am, I'm not going to work with you.
Yeah.
But you know, whatever. It happens. This person I've heard is otherwise very lovely, and they're successful in what they do, and that's great. But I think that sort of thing, which just again was brought to my attention yesterday, like that's the mindset that I was in when I wrote Free, which is
Yeah.
super opposite of where I was. I was like, you know, it was like kind of a giddy, lighthearted thing when I wrote Heartbeat.
Yeah.
So,
It's interesting thinking about the body again, because the heart is an organ in the body, but then of course in most songs, the heart is not an organ in the body.
right.
And it's interesting that in the record Heartbeat, it's simultaneously that and also what we expect it to be in a pop song. So are there other songs on Heartbeat where the physicality of the heart is highlighted?
Other than Heartbeat? I honestly don't think so. I think the rest of those songs are more of like the metaphoric aspect of a heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm trying to think, because so many of those songs I don't even play anymore.
Which are the ones that you play?
I perform Somebody, and I perform Hanging On, and Helpless, and Chains.
Yeah.
I suppose Chains can get, it's not necessarily referencing the heart, but it's a little
It's
bit more
visceral.
literal, with the body. Yeah.
And the clapping.
Yep.
Yeah. We returning to "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Yes,
and
I get this all
and
the
the
time.
frame of reference. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm highlighting is that was not a reference for you as you were writing this song. Right?
I don't think I had even seen the movie yet.
Or maybe I think had the movie even necessarily been made?
It probably was. I was so late. I get on these kicks with movies where I will just want to watch all the new things, and then I'll go years and I'll like watch something like 4 years after it won an Oscar or something.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm really late to the game. So I didn't actually watch Oh Brother, Where Art Thou until I moved to Loring Park in Minneapolis. So it was at least like 2009 or something. I don't remember when that movie came out, but I think it came out long before that.
And Loring Park is where you would write a lot of the songs, like Heartbeat, for example. You wrote Walking Around.
Yeah, I
Loring
think I
Park,
was
is that
just
correct?
sitting on a bench in Loring Park watching people, reflecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you write the entire song on that bench?
I think I wrote most of it. The only thing I didn't write all at once on that one was like the gypsy breakdown in the middle. That I knew I wanted to do that, and there was a placeholder, but the lyrics of that didn't come right away.
When they did come, how did you know, oh, these are the lyrics? Because that was part of the genesis of that song, was the desire to have a song with that kind of breakdown. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
well, I think I didn't go into like, oh, Heartbeat. Like I started writing Heartbeat.
Yeah.
I had the little note in my brain, like I want to, in the very near future, like feature kind of like a gypsy slow down, like tempo thing in a song. So
Why
I didn't,
Did you?
why did I do
mean,
it
it
with
sounds
that?
great, but was there what drew you to that in particular? Why did you have this strong desire to do that?
Oh, because I love that sort of music. I love Eastern European
Yeah.
music. I love like Scandinavian fiddle. I love like Ukrainian folk music.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of songs. I shouldn't say a lot, but there are quite a few that it's just their form that it'll like start slow and get faster, and it kind of has like that gypsy.
Yeah.
I use gypsy in a sense, I don't mean it to sound offensive, but for a long time, like when I was growing up and first learning all the different styles of fiddle, like gypsy music was considered anything that had kind of that Eastern European vibe. Like there's a definite style, but some songs that come from Finland even can have like that sort of quality. So that's all I mean, is it has kind of like a multicultural, like you can tell too that like those people were traveling and like playing their instruments on the road, you know, which I mean comes full circle to like how we sometimes write music.
So the heart is the thread all the way through Heartbeats. It's very domestic and it's very internal, the record. And yet, with the manner in which we were just talking about the song Heartbeat, there is this kind of cosmopolitan, multicultural flavor to it. So that's an interesting kind of dichotomy within the record, that it's so personal and yet so global in a way. Is that something that you were aware of, or that you do you like the fact that that's
Yeah,
the
well,
case?
I love hearing this from you, Simon. That's great. Yeah, well, I think being that it was my first solo effort, I just kind of knew that I wanted to incorporate as much of myself as possible. And that's a good word that I haven't really used to describe anything that I do is global. Like when I first started playing the violin, which I just begged and begged to play the violin, I fell in love with it at a very young age, and it's still the love of my life.
Yeah.
But like
And thanks to your dad, you discovered that you could play it with a pedal.
Yeah, well, it's just my dad just like listens, like he's a huge Eric Clapton fan, like he listens to what we now consider like a lot of classic rock. So then that kind of came later. Like I'm just trying to play it on guitar, teaching myself like, wait a second, like I could really nail this on the violin because I know how to play that.
Eric Clapton on the violin.
I know. Well, the only one I play Layla sometimes in sound checks, and like I'll make sure to do that at a show that my dad is at because he just gets so excited. But going back to the like world music global thing, I think I've always, since day one, I was learning, you know, traditional Suzuki method, which is a lot like Bach and a lot of classical stuff, Mozart. I was learning Scandinavian, mostly Finnish folk music. I was learning American fiddle, like we called it like our hoedown set. And I was learning about, you know, the gypsy music tradition, like Zeigunderweisen, which I know the violin players out there know what that is, or like the Chardas by Monty and like those sorts of songs. Schubert's The Bee or like Rimsky-Korsakov's like Flight of the Bumblebee might even be able to be looped into that because they're like flashy showpieces, you know? So I think being that that's like what I started playing and grew up playing, and I still love to play those sorts of things, I kind of felt like I had to get at least some of that in there and not have it just be like singer-songwriter or like just guitar or just orchestrated violin parts.
Yeah.
You know, like I just want all of it. Let's just do it all.
Because even though the 10 songs that ended up on the record had this common focus on the heart and telling the story of the heart and of your heart, that's something that came to light during the process when you were thinking, you know, what to put on a record. Is that correct? So there were other songs that weren't necessarily exploring that subject matter. Is that true?
Yeah, I could say like other half songs. Like I have a huge plethora of songs that aren't finished, and it's like, ooh, that's a really great idea nugget, but I don't have the energy, or I just can't develop it right now, or I don't want to, or whatever. Heartbeat, it was actually really hard when I first started playing my own music out. Like it was very hard for me to like find even like 6 songs that are like, okay, these songs are acceptable to play for other people. Like it was so scary for me. And it's still, I shouldn't say it still is. Like I'm a lot less intimidated to just like play a new song on stage. But at that time I was being really cerebral and in my head about it, and just really picky about like what I will even sing for other people lyrically. Like I'll play violin all the live long day, but like lyric writing so personal, and I didn't start doing it till I was like 27.
And there's a lot of vulnerability and like heart. The heart is on your sleeve.
Yeah.
If there's a location for the heart.
Exactly. I mean, and isn't it for all of us?
Yeah. And then it's interesting as we approach Halloween again. You know, it reminds me.
That's still one of my favorites. I wish I could write 20 more like that.
That being Hearts in a Jar.